in leads and sales. So let's get into a step-by-step deep dive into how to hack social media to actually grow your business. Now, my background is in entrepreneurship and sales. I built businesses from the ground up, scaled to 8 figures, lost it, and rebuilt again from scratch. And for a very long time, I thought grinding door-to-door, cold calling, and paid ads were the only real ways to really generate revenue. I was not terribly interested in organic social media because I figured I could just go out and close deals myself. But things really have changed. And any founder who wants to build something sustainable has to be using a system like the one I'm going to be sharing with you in order to win business in a cost-effective way. Now, if you do run ads, this is actually going to turbocharge your ads. You're going to get amazing content for your ads if you do this. And if you don't run ads, you'll never be able to fine-tune your messaging. Use the system, and then when it's working, you can ramp it up with some spend behind it. So when you get this system in place, the cost of winning business isn't going to drop through the floor, right? You are going to win business with a lower cost per lead and a lower cost per sale than you've ever had before. So once we put this system in place, let's get into the system and let me walk you through the key ingredients. So ingredient number 1 is that you are going to need 11 pieces of short form content. Now, why do I say 11 pieces? 11 pieces is the evidence-backed number of pieces that people have to see you in order to notice you. In order to get noticed, you need to be seen 11 times by your prospects. So you think about it like this. People see you for the first time when they've seen you for the 11th time. Now, the clock resets every single 90 days, which means you got to post a lot of content. Unfortunately, if you post once a month, it's not going to be enough for people to even notice you. But if you start posting every single day, people are going to start noticing you week in, week out. And I know what's frustrating to hear. I know that's really frustrating to hear. And I know you don't want to be posting every single day. It sucks. It's annoying. But if you get this systematized and if you get a process in place, you could start posting every single day. You start getting noticed every day and the whole system starts to flow. So consider what it would be like to walk through a busy street. There's thousands of people all around you and you're going to walk from one end of the street to the other. And at the end of the street, I'm going to ask you, who did you notice when you were walking down the street? Now, most of the time, you'll say, I didn't notice anybody. Everyone just turned into a blur. However, there are 5 types of people who you would notice. And we call it the breaking framework and the belonging framework. So the first thing you would notice is anything that breaks your reality. Now the brain is literally attuned to finding things that threaten that status quo. So if something contradicts what you already believe, your attention snaps to it immediately. So how do you leverage this in your content? So you name the real problem in the founder's world. You talk about what's actually going wrong. You talk about the gap between where they are and where they want to be. So you talk about the trap they're currently in. And here is the key part. The trap they might not even see yet. So you talk about the cost of staying exactly where they are. You share the uncomfortable truth that nobody else in your space is willing to say out loud. Those are the things that break people's reality and absolutely get noticed. So think about content like most founders are stuck building a business that owns them, not the other way around. That right there is a reality break. Threat detection activates attention immediately. And the second thing you would notice is anything that triggers a revelation. So if someone was walking down the street dressed as a giant banana, right? You would totally notice it because you're not expecting it. It contradicts everything you expect to see. Now, how do you leverage this in your content? You create content that shares the counterintuitive insight, the thing people haven't heard before, the totally twisted take, the opposite of what they believe to be true. So if I was to say something like, the founders who post the least consistently earn the most, you would go, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? That sounds strange. I've never heard of that before. Well, what do you mean? Or why slowing down your content actually speeds up your growth. So a revelation is anything that invokes curiosity. It's novel. It's different. And if you can share something like that, it will absolutely get noticed. Now, the third thing is transformation. You notice desirable outcomes and possibilities. Whatever it is that your business does, it probably produces a desirable outcome that people want. You should talk about that desirable outcome. Forget about the process. Forget about all of that stuff that goes into it. Talk about the big transformation people could experience on the other side. You might talk about building a personal brand. Talk about the freedom that comes from it. You talk about leads coming in without chasing. Talk about clients who already trust you before you even get on the call. Talk about building a business that funds the life, not the other way around. So you figure out what that big transformation looks like and you lead with it, because that gets noticed in short form content. Now, the fourth is teaching. This is the generosity principle. Free value is where you solve someone's problem for free. It's where you give people a nugget of information that they go, wow, that was so valuable. I can't believe I got that for free. You show your actual playbook. Share ideas that are normally behind curtains. Information people normally pay for, your exact frameworks and processes, anything that people would normally have to spend years learning or thousands of dollars to access. So if you give that away freely, people will take notice. And here's the thing, when you teach at that level, you're not giving away the farm, right? You're showing people that you're confident enough in what you know to give it away. That reciprocity builds trust faster than anything else. And the fifth is belonging. Now, if people see you alongside something that they already know and understand, they will recognize you in relation to that. If they see you referenced next to an influencer they already follow, they're going to pay more attention to you. If they see testimonials from people who look just like them, they're going to trust you. If you build on research from respected sources, they're going to believe you. Credibility transfers through association. At House of Founders, we call this tokens, using social proof and association as currency for credibility. So leveraging what is already familiar to your workplace and your marketplace to capture some of that attention is one of the biggest unlocks in content. So what is short form content? It's content that can typically be consumed in a matter of minutes. It might be a short post on LinkedIn. It might be an image. It might even be a graphic, or it might be a short video like the ones you'll see on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts. That short content is the key to getting noticed. But before people can get to know you and buy from you, they have to notice you. They're going to see your content 11 times. They're going to notice you, and then they're going to want to get to the next step. Okay? The next step is long form content. And in particular, we need 2 to 7 hours of long form content. Professor Robin Dunbar did a research assignment into how people make friends and how they form bonds. And what he found is that when people spend 2 to 7 hours together, they really get to know each other. So after people notice you with short form content, they want to get to know you with long form content. And it takes 2 to 7 hours to do that. Now, there are 3 types of long form content that are really, really powerful for people getting to know you. The first one is a book. The second one is a podcast, and the third one is a workshop. So these three formats are excellent for people to get to know you. And of course, you can express those as long form videos on YouTube, podcasts, on Spotify, and long posts and documents on LinkedIn. Workshops delivered on Zoom, books or PDFs that people can access through your brand. Any of that type of content is a long form content. It's typically content that takes more than 15 minutes to take in and consume. And here's the key thing about it. Short form gets you noticed, but long form gets you known. So this is where real trust is built, not in 15-second videos, whether it's 20 minutes on YouTube or 5 hours across a podcast series. They're spending time with you, and that time builds a level of credibility that short form content never can. Now, what will that content contain? It will follow what we call the stairway framework. Stairway stands for starting point, trust builder, acknowledge, problem, introduce, solution, reveal why, what's possible, and action now. And you've got this. Like climbing stairs, each step builds on the previous one. A great piece of long form content meets people exactly at their starting point. Builds the trust early so they know why they should keep listening. Acknowledges the problem they're living inside and introduces the solution in a way that feels earned. Reveals why this matters right now. Paints a picture of what's actually possible for them, and then gives them a clear action that they can take, and then leaves them being uplifted, right? Or feeling uplifted, like they got this. At House of Founders, the Stairway Framework is the foundation we use to help founders build long-form content that actually converts attention into trust. Now, to really bring this to life, we're going to add one more layer. We call this the WPNF, what people notice first. Now, what the hell is WPNF? It's a fancy way of saying that people perceive your value based on associations, symbols, and markers of high performance they see around you. People judge you by what surrounds you. This isn't fair, but it is absolutely true. An extreme example of this is where you see entrepreneurs showing their results. The revenue milestones, the press features, the client wins, those are what people notice first. Now, another example is, imagine you want to be seen as a founder who builds real systems and gets real results. You could create content that references frameworks, data, documented proof, and performance markers. By weaving those elements into your videos and posts, those are what people notice first. Most importantly, you don't want to create anything that triggers the wrong first impression. You don't want any content that looks cheap, unorganized, or broken in any way. I once saw a business coach lose a major contract because the potential client noticed they had a cracked phone screen during a Zoom call. That's a really stupid reason not to work with someone, but it totally made an impact because that detail said low value. And the person noticed it and said, that's not who I'm hiring. Remember, people do judge a book by its cover. So make sure that what people notice first in your content is always working for you, not against you. So imagine there was no such thing as the digital world. You walk down the street and you notice someone that you've seen 11 times before. You stop and say hello. You get talking, you sit down and have a coffee with them. And you get to know each other over 2 to 7 hours. So this is getting noticed and getting known. But we're doing it in a digital format. This takes us to the next step. And this is where the money is made. This is where all of this hard work pays off. And that is to send people to a high converting landing page. And on that landing page, you're going to have a call to action. You're going to have something that you want people to do so they can signal that they're interested in working with you. So there are a few things that we have to have on this landing page. The number one thing is called a hook. A hook is a really clear, powerful statement that hooks people's attention. My two favorite hooks are called a readiness hook and a frustration hook. A readiness hook is where you say, are you ready to get something done? Are you ready to get a certain result? You might say, are you ready to stop posting content that gets ignored? Or Are you ready to build a brand that attracts clients instead of chasing them? That's a readiness hook. The other hook I really like is a frustration hook, where you name the frustration that people currently experience. A frustration hook could be frustrated watching other founders blow up while your content flatlines, or frustrated that you're putting in the work but the leads aren't coming. So the hook is either readiness or frustration. Those two hooks work like magic. Now, after the hook, people scroll down and they see a value proposition. A value proposition says, if you do this, you will get this. Take this free 5-minute assessment and we'll show you the number one reason your content isn't converting into clients. Your exact next step to building consistent inbound leads and your personalized 90-day content roadmap. It tells them exactly what they get in exchange for taking action. So be specific about outcomes, not features. I want you to spell it out. Give people at least 3 reasons why they should take this next step. Once people see a value proposition, they often think it's too good to be true. And this is where you reaffirm your credibility. Now, your credibility is your background, your history, your track record. It could reference the results that you've gotten for clients. So use numbers over titles. Built multiple businesses from zero, including a $12 million agency. Rebuilt from scratch after losing it all and documented every step. Help founders build personal brands that generate consistent inbound leads. The frameworks inside House of Founders have helped founders go from invisible to inbound. These are the things that give credibility to what you said in the value proposition. And then finally, you've got a call to action. That's a button that tells people what to do next. It could be take the assessment, join the workshop, join the webinar, request a strategy call, get your free content audit. The number one call to action that I absolutely love is an online assessment for founders, service businesses, and personal brands. And an online assessment is a powerful call to action because it's low commitment. It's free, it's specific, it's action oriented, and it qualifies a person taking it. So if they take it, they're serious. Now, with the credibility piece, a lot of people worry they don't have enough. But because you've had the short form content and the long form content running, people only need a little bit of credibility just to know that it's safe to take that next step. And remember, the next step is a free next step. It costs us nothing to take an assessment. You might say, take the assessment, it's totally free, takes 3 minutes, and it gives you immediate results. A powerful call to action like that can convert 20 to 40% of your traffic into leads. And once you've got leads, everything flows from there. So this is all about capturing attention and trust and then converting it into action by collecting that lead. So short form content and long form content is all about getting noticed and getting known. Having a really powerful landing page is about converting that attention into trusted conversations. And once you're having those trusted conversations, you're going to make a lot more sales. So this is my methodology for how I use social media to grow my businesses. Every single brand that I'm involved in, we have a short form content strategy using these frameworks. A long form content strategy built on this framework, our WP&F standards locked in, our landing pages converting, and this is how we are turning attention and online engagement into real business growth. So since implementing this system, at House of Founders, we went from a handful of inconsistent inbound conversations to building a really steady, predictable pipeline of qualified founder leads every single month. It's not just in my own businesses where this is working. I rolled this out for the founders and personal brands we work with. And it is absolutely changing the trajectory of their businesses. So if you got a steady stream of short form content, long form content that builds trust and landing pages that convert, you're going to see business growth. This is how you hack social media to make your business grow. Okay? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below. Give the channel a subscribe and a like. Check out some of my other videos on this channel, and I look forward to seeing you soon. All the best.